All right, let's get her going here. The Real Kyper and Bourne Show. I'm Nick Kypreos. He's Justin Bourne. He's Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Jen Rolnick in today for the next 2 hours.
Yes.
Terrific show for you coming up. We've got Kevin Cheveldayoff, general manager and the hottest team in hockey.
The Jets doing okay?
I think they're doing okay.
Okay.
We'll have him at the top of the hour on our national show. In the meantime, we are live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet, and Sportsnet Plus. Toronto Maple Leafs sweep the weekend of back-to-back. Friday night, Detroit, no problem. Saturday night, Montreal, no problem.
No problem.
And
They were doing okay.
everything's hunky-dory again, JB.
It is. Before we get going, you mentioned Jen Rolnick's in there. She did a really good job. I brought my brother through here.
Yes, and it's his birthday as well, right, Jeff?
A big happy birthday to Jeff Bourne, my brother. His wife, Sarah Bourne, was in here as well, and their friend Julia. Jen put up the, what do you call it, a chyron or a font or whatever. It said Jeff, birthday boy. And there's words on the screen is what I mean.
A bumper?
A bumper? Is that it?
I don't know.
And he was very excited.
I could be in this business for 50 years, and I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
A name key.
I think is chyron not right?
No, I don't think so. Jen? Somebody.
Name key is what I'm getting.
Name key.
Anyway, she threw up a name key for him. It's pretty cool. So happy birthday to my brother. Great to have him in Toronto. Oh, chyron is the machine that makes keys. Don't listen to me.
Holy red hot start.
Now, is he a Leaf fan?
Isles, right?
Isles?
He's all in on the Isles. Or Vancouver.
He needs a Canadian favorite team.
He'd be a Canucks guy.
More Canucks than the Leafs.
Yeah.
So what would he have thought about the Leafs winning on the weekend?
He's a courtesy supporter, but, I think anyone watching the Leafs at this point has to be a little bit encouraged, right? I mean, this is a team that last year against Atlantic Division teams were below 500. How do you expect to win your division if you're below 500 in your own division? This year, they're off to a 4-1-1 start in their division. These are not the best teams they beat. You got to beat these teams. They hadn't been doing that under Sheldon Keefe in previous years.
Yeah. I think it was pretty shocking how bad the Red Wings and Habs are, especially the Red Wings.
You lump in with the Montreal.
They're not in the same class, but I think they're definitely way below expectations in terms of where you thought they'd be at this point. But that's been a huge complaint of all of ours, is how many points they've wasted against teams worse than them. And you went into, against Boston, who is a team that's worse than them right now, beat them. And then you take 4 points from Montreal and the Red Wings over Hall of Fame weekend. It's looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What also helps is when you get real steady goaltending.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's a few different directions we can go to start off our Leaf Hour edition. But eventually we'll get to Austin Matthews and that incredible, Austin Matthews run that they've been on.
Mm-hmm.
But where do you want to go first in terms of just wrapping up the weekend?
I think it's Austin Matthews.
You want to talk about
right out of the get-go?
Sure. And then let's do the power play. But because that's related to Matthews.
So you want to just rip off a couple of stats where the Leafs are with Austin Matthews in the lineup and where they are without him.
Well, without him.
Well, that's, I think, a relevant note here. Go ahead.
Without him, the Toronto Maple Leafs have won 7 straight games and are 40-19-2.
Mm-hmm.
The Maple Leafs are 11 for 26 on the power play in their last 5 games without Austin Matthews, and is operating at a 30.9% clip on the power play without Matthews since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That don't make no sense.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting here doing this like it's, it is crazy that they've done so well. But I will say, 40-19, their record, their winning percentage over that time is not too different than that.
Yeah.
It's above their winning percentage by not by a ton. They kind of beat up some tomato cans here.
For sure.
This past little stretch.
Yeah.
And then, I do think that there's an element of, pick the team up. He's not in. We got to do this. And then the power play to me is the only place it's super relevant, where it's like that tangibly changes how people think and feel and how it looks. And I think there's something important to pull out of that. That to me is worth finding.
Yeah. And just on that note, Mitch Marner, it's completely changes Mitch Marner as well.
On the power play or generally?
Start on the power play,
Yeah.
right? Where we've seen him lost in a bumper position. Now all of a sudden he's found himself most often than not walking the blue line. Does he? No way to gauge where he's going to go with the puck. Disguises it as well as anybody, and like he's also on the power play, but in general a different player with Austin. His numbers are actually better.
Is that not justification to you to say, can we have these guys do this without each other and push them on separate lines?
I think there's something to be said that for sure.
Yeah.
His points are up. Like it's just he can carry himself.
Yeah.
Without Austin.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure. He's been super good. I think the power play is an interesting discussion of what about if they go back to how they were when they were almost rookies, when Marner ran it from the right side on the power play and Austin caught and released on his offhand. Is there something there? Like Marner overall is a tremendous player. His guy has gotten, votes for all sorts of awards, and we know what he can do. No one has ever said Marner can't do it against Detroit in Game 15. No one's ever said that. That's not. I'm not shocked he's killing it. But
the whole team's killing it without him.
Yeah. And
so what? They're different. They tighten up. They want to get him the puck more. Subconsciously, the focus is about him when he's on the ice shooting the puck.
I mean, they've played 3 games without him. And I think, we'd be fools to make too big a deal of it. They've beat a team in Boston that's probably going to fire their coach, and then 2 non-playoff teams.
No, this is the core. This is over his career. The record with if you broke it down, the only one that it matches up is like they're a worse team with Mitch out of the lineup, and statistically they're a better team with Austin out.
And Riley.
Riley,
they're really good.
And Nylander. Like
so they're better with all of them. They should play with none of them.
Weird. It's just
imagine how good they'd be.
Listen, it's just odd.
Yeah,
it'd be 2015.
It's just odd.
It is, Kip. At the same, we're talking about a 60 game over the career, and 3/4 of these games were in Austin's first 2 years. We were hyping up this record. These are games from 2016-17 when it's Kadri, Bozak.
So I'm not trading him or sending him down to Marlies.
I know, but I've heard this conversation on several different.
Good thing Patch has gotten hurt so they can get him back in the lineup when he's healthy.
I've heard several interviews with this Matthews thing, and people being like, "Boy, yeah, they're pretty good with him out, just like we did with Riley out last year." And
38-19 is significant. 38-19-2 is really
40.
Is it
40-19?
Yeah, because they won the last 2 games.
Yeah,
but I mean, like I said, a lot of this is when they're younger or when he's in his earlier days. And I guess my question is, what's your point?
Yeah. Odd. That it's really odd.
Do you have any theories?
The only one I can come up with is that they overemphasize getting in the puck.
So then how do they correct that with him in the lineup and maintain?
Maybe it's Austin that needs the correcting.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know. Just like they are, and I've been on this for a long time. They're not a good. They don't pass the puck as well as I think they should. Mm-hmm. And they've moved it pretty good in the last little while. It's just small, but again, the other thing is I look at. I know they're shooters. I get that they're shooters, but as a number 1 centerman, I want Austin to pass the puck more. I want Austin should be passing it to Marner for tap-ins in the empty net, not David Kampf. Right? So I don't know if Austin could consciously make it a point to be more of a setup man than at times shooting from bad angles.
You're talking about asking Brett Hull or whatever to pass to Adam Oates. Like, does anyone think that's a better conclusion?
I think that this, to me, the way that Marner has looked over the games without Matthews here and the way Matthews looked without Marner last year, very clear to me that they're both can be separated. Yeah. Like Matthews played
that's the best conclusion here is that they can drive their own line.
You know how many Stanley Cups Adam Oates and Brett Hull won doing it their way, right?
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. If you don't think you can win like that, there's definitely listen, I'm on board with some sort of stylistic adjustment and not looking for a shot all the time. Absolutely. I think we're getting a little bit hyped up here over a small sample number. Mitch Marner's points per game the last 4 years, or points per 60, 3.9, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. We're kind of where we've been. He's the player we know he is. He's a elite guy.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews, obviously elite player, 106 points last year, whatever the exact number was. Some people want him to pass it more. I'm fine with him shooting it in the net almost 70 times. Take your pick.
Okay, let's go to Craig Berube for our first Kyper's Clipper this week on his power play without Austin Matthews.
Like we talked about, it's simplified, and they're attacking more downhill and getting pucks to the net area and getting rewarded for it right now, which is good to see. Yeah, they've done a good job.
And you like what you've seen from the power play?
Yeah, I think they've gotten a couple of breaks too. Couple of bounces, couple of seeing eye pucks that found their way to the net. It tends to balance out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think once you get Austin back as early as we think this week.
Doubtful for tomorrow.
I bet he doesn't play the next couple because it's back-to-back.
Eventually, you're going to have to find that same type of vibe with him in it.
The one thing I'm totally fine with, and if you're looking towards the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs to say, hey, you've been out, the power play is humming, until it's not humming, you're going to run the second power play. I'm fine with that. I mean, it's not killer for 2 games to say, this is going really good. We're not going to disrupt it. We're trying to score goals in the power play. You assume Matthews, who has signed a long-term deal in the captain team, is in it for the good of the team.
What world are you living in that if this power play continues to stay pretty good for... Yeah. I don't know, the next 2-3 weeks, Austin's going to take the last 15 seconds of a power play.
But see, have you ever heard him say, I won't do that? Or like they're a team trying to win games. He's the captain. He has a long-term deal.
Yeah.
You don't think he'll say, okay.
No.
I'll get it when I can?
Well, he can say okay publicly, but behind the scenes, he's
I guess it depends where you get your information from, like who you're hearing.
Being.
Yeah. I guess it depends where you get your
I'm not getting information. I know these guys. I know it. I've lived it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
You can talk about different eras. You can talk about the game's changed. That part will never change.
And I don't think he has to love it. I just think you have to say, you are the captain of this team. The goal for this team is to win. Here's what we're doing. Like, would Berube not have the power to tell him?
The answer is you find it with him because that's what you committed $13.25 million
He's going to be on it. No one's saying he's not going to be, it's round 1, game 3.
They don't have the patience to wait it out. They don't. They don't
have an option.
He has the option. He goes to them and says, you want to see me drag my lip around here? He's the star player. He's a 70-goal scorer. Mm-hmm. Your job as a training or as a coaching staff is to find the right solution that includes him, not temporarily leaves him on the sidelines. It's just not reality. Now, you want to try a period, get, half a game to your theory, but you're talking about something that may go a week, 10 days. Nah, I don't see it.
Yeah, it's so funny because, we talk about how the teams that have won in the recent past are teams with a capital T.
Yeah.
We remember watching the videos at Tampa Bay. Was it St. Louis that hit the guy or something? And all Tampa Bay, every guy in the ice had their gloves off, chasing him around. Yeah. And Florida, what a team, capital T team, no one above the logo, all that stuff. But the Leafs are somehow, to you, get a different set of rules.
That's apples to oranges. Defending a teammate on the ice in that capacity and leaving Kucherov on the bench or Pasternak for a whole period, that stuff's going to come back and haunt Montgomery. Yeah. It just doesn't get blown off as being a good team guy. It just doesn't work that way when it comes to these stars. So... anyways, listen, I'm not...
They should get a hard-ass coach in, someone who's able to tell them you're sitting on the bench. Someone with a real history.
Not such a player's coach that they got now.
Berube's that guy. He says that guy as much as anybody will ever
Sheldon
find,
Berube?
And he won't do that. Yeah. He won't leave Austin on the second unit while this one stays
Obviously, it's not a long-term solution.
So if you're looking at it right now, then... the way it's kind of gotten rolling here, and it's looked good, I think there's something to the fact that it's just off the schneid now, and you slide Matthews back in there, and it's just going to be a top 10 unit for the rest of the year. Like, I really do feel like there's a big yips element to it. And they finally started. I mean, look at how many of these plays are just broken plays and pucks landing on sticks in the sweet spot. And like
fake shot, backdoor.
Willie Nylander, that was not a power play goal. That's him skating through a bunch of fire pokers and shooting it in the net.
Hudson is spinning circles.
I think it's just sort of started to turn here. And I think there's a really great chance that just Austin Matthews comes back probably, let's say, Saturday night against the Edmonton Oilers on Hockey Night in Canada. Mm-hmm. First penalty,
he's probably going over the board.
Zach Hyman, 2 minutes for hooking.
Yeah.
34 is probably hopping over, Barney.
I think you're right. So I think people misconstrue me saying, here's what I think will happen versus here's what I think should happen. Because I think he'll be there.
It's just, I think that there's just they've been better. Their numbers look great. Mm-hmm. But I really do think there's been a lot of element of just regulating and luck to them getting so hot on the power play.
Like they scored on the power play before he got hurt. Yeah. Pass to Nylander.
It is funny, though, that it's just they couldn't score on the power play, and then they couldn't score 5-on-5. They only score power play goals for 2 games in a row. It's a funny sport. Anyways.
Okay, where do you guys want to go? You want to go Timmins, defense, penalty kill, Tavares?
What do you like?
Matthews.
Dealer's choice.
Let's talk about the blue line a little bit, because as much as maybe Montreal had time in the ozone on Saturday night, I don't think they really got a decent sniff.
No.
To get themselves back in the game. And, Connor Timmins again, standing pretty strong. Won't give up that spot, boys.
Yeah.
It's his right now to lose. So let's go to Craig Berube on Connor Timmins.
Well, he's been highly competitive for one thing with his defensive play. That's key, but makes plays with the puck. He sees the ice really well. I think on breakouts, he hits the middle of the ice quite a bit. And then, tonight he used his shot and scored, but he's got a good shot. But just overall, I think it's, his competitiveness is what's, really stands out to me and for me, like defending and winning battles and breaking pucks out under pressure, things like that. So that's the thing that stands out for me.
He really likes a lot of stuff that I don't think Connor Timmins was known for prior to Craig Berube, hey?
Well, Timmins came in and he was in a bit of a clump with about 3 or 4 other guys, including Myers, including Hakanpää,
Liljegren.
Liljegren's out. Benning's in. Benning's on waivers. Yeah. He'll go down to the Marlies as the 8th defenseman. Mm-hmm. Hakanpää's the 7th defenseman. And Timmins is locked in right now at 6.
Do you think when Hakanpää comes back, what do you do? Because Hakanpää's a right shot guy. Timmins has been tough to take out.
Yeah.
His ice time has gone up. He's almost 18 minutes last game. Like, they clearly
there might be a game or a loss where it's a little easier to go up to him and say, you're a healthy scratch tonight.
Yeah.
And you got to get Hakanpää in. You got to see what he looks like, what the knee feels like after a game. You didn't come this far to just leave Hakanpää out there to sit there and not get a test. Mm-hmm. So I probably think Timmins is the likely guy to come out, a right shot for a right shot. But you might, to your point earlier, minus the power play example, just wait. We might have to wait till it cools off a little bit.
Yeah, it's the one thing with Timmins that's scary, has always been scary, is games played, right? His ability to stay healthy. If you look back, man, he never plays a full season. Last year, 25 games. Year before that, 25 games. 2021, 31 games. Year before that, 40 games. Year before that, 36 games. This guy hasn't played a 41st hockey game since 2017.
And the reason why Dallas just didn't make a longer-term commitment to him.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking with Timmins. That's Timmins.
Oh, Timmins. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying Hakanpää.
No, Timmins hasn't played any significant time either. So, yeah, hopefully he's able to. Him and Hakanpää can kind of trade in and out.
He is playing different, Timmins. Berube's got him playing different. I think he's making better judgments on when to go, when not to go, when to be aggressive, when not. He's found a way to limit his mistakes. Yeah. And maybe that's going to limit his ability to stay, healthy.
It's funny when you look at the type of player he is. It's like he's 6'3", and he works really hard. He skates really well. He has good offensive instincts. Like there's tons to like. Maybe with some consistent play, this is a guy he's in there in playoffs. I don't know.
I have to say, you look at the Leafs D-core in general, and I think that having the top four of what they have here with Riley, Ulrich, Larson, Tanev, McCabe, whatever order you want to put it in. Mm-hmm. This is kind of what it's supposed to be like when you have a NHL team where you have the four solid guys where you just worry about the bottom half of your D-core where it's like, oh, yeah, Timmins can mix in or Benoit or Hockenpah.
Whoever's going, we'll put him in.
Whoever, you just kind of worry about the top four, the guys who are going to play the most amount of ice. And they've done an unbelievable job. Like they really, it's got 2 goals in the last 3 games against. The high danger chances, all this stuff against them, like they're really doing a great job defensively. So, and
when it does break down,
they're getting saves.
You're getting saves that you haven't seen really.
Ever. I've never seen a goalie make a barehanded save. So,
long time.
You were there on Friday night. How was it?
It was good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fun to watch live hockey again.
Any different impressions on the?
Yeah, a few things. I thought Marner is unbelievable.
Yeah. I will say every time I'm there in person, that's a takeaway.
Yeah, Marner's unbelievable live. Willie's unbelievable live. Thought McMahon the thing he was really praising the third line after Friday night.
Good long shifts
for
in
sure.
Their own zone.
They play on the called back goal, right? McMahon drove wide.
I see McMahon's size live. I'm like, God, just hammer somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like run into somebody. Use the size, man. Like he's so big and so fast. And he just pulls up so often. So that was my 3 big takeaways. And that crowd in the lower bowl, pretty brutal. Yeah. Pretty brutal. I don't want to do it, but I was with some degenerates that are trying to get goalies go chance going, and everybody's just staring at their phone. It's Friday night, man. Let's go here.
You're still doing business.
Still trying to cut deals to pay for those suckers.
People are looking up at us like we're got holes in our heads because we're go Leafs go. It's like, good Lord, what's going on here? Anyway, those are my big takeaways. And all the people that came up to me and said they love the show.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I was like Brad Pitt down there. I must have 15 people come up to me. It was unbelievable.
Man,
it was
awesome.
Unbelievable. So, yeah. Anyways.
But the defense is like a notable thing, right? Like it just, talking to Bunk earlier today, he was saying like watching Chris Tanev is like when you're out of a bad relationship and then you get in a good one, you're like, wait, it's supposed to be like this? Like this is so easy. He just blocks shots. He breaks the puck out. It feels safe with him out there. He's been tremendous, and the team as a result is as tight as they've been defensively in some time.
Yeah, like they've allowed the second least 5-on-5 goals against this season.
That's awesome.
With 21 behind the Dallas Stars, who let 19. So they're second in the league in goals against 5-on-5 this year.
Anything worth noting on Berube or Tree Living on Austin Matthews?
He's got a strong defense clip if you want to hear him on that to put a bow on what we just talked about, clip 5.
Let's do it.
We're really doing a good job in the slot area, and we're heavy down low in our zone. Our D are doing a great job of killing plays, and our forwards are protecting the middle of the ice really well, and that's key. And that's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do.
That's about it. So yeah, it's like low event hockey. That Detroit game was not a thrill ride.
No, it was not.
And I'm sorry, but Montreal was like, I can appreciate like the Leafs gaining confidence and the power play and all of that, but how do you really know for sure when that team was awful?
Man.
Like, to me, it was as soft as I've seen a team in 10 years.
And that's crazy, Kip. And it's like, there's some hubris involved that they're not changing anything. They're just doing what they think
They got a big win today. They went 7-5 with the Sabres.
Oh, man.
Which
I like Buffalo.
Both teams deserve to lose today.
I know. 2 L's. Right? We're going to award your points. We're going to distribute the 2 points amongst the league.
I'm scared for Hab fans.
Like, it doesn't feel like they're better next year.
Not next year. Not this year. They could finish in the bottom, and next year they could finish bottom 5 again next year.
What's the route here?
What's the path to better?
I don't know. I don't know, but like you got to start wondering too. Not that this is the Habs hour on our show, but like, is that the right core to lead? Are they frontline guys?
No, it's not.
Is Suzuki a number one centerman eventually on a cup contending team?
He's definitely a great number 2 centerman.
Okay.
Like he's a number 1 centerman in the NHL, but on the 16 teams trying to win a cup, probably not.
Cole Caulfield scored 2 more power play goals.
Yeah, he might
today.
get 50 this year. He might.
But like 5-on-5, I don't notice him 5-on-5.
No.
I notice him when he's waiting off the post on the power play and he gets to one time, one in.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's noticeable. But Saturday night, he was nowhere to be found. They got a lot of money in a lot of these kids, and I'm not seeing where the promised land is right now with this group.
Can I ask you your thoughts on the Domi Savard thing? When I think it was at the end of the second period, right? Where Domi and Savard have been tied up early in the game. He cross-checked Domi, and then they get into the little scrum there, and Domi gets his gloves off, and Savard kind of looks at him funny.
Yeah.
Like, should eligible to be fought there?
I like David Savard, and I'm watching him and his team, and I'm going, like, does a 34, 35-year-old defenseman with, 800-900 games under his belt have to be the guy to go get Max? And I'm looking at all these young kids with big contracts mailing it in all night, and I'm going to go fight Max Domi?
Isn't he the hard-nosed D? Like, I saw him in that moment. I'm like, they're down 3. It's hockey night in Canada. It's,
getting embarrassed.
One of the other guys wants to that to me seemed like prime.
Listen, I'm not saying that you're wrong on the surface, but I've also seen scenarios where it's like, if you don't give a crap and you don't give a crap and you don't give a crap, why should I go give a crap?
I'll put my nose on the line to watch us lose 4-0.
I'm 34. I can still be in demand. I'm out of here by March. I'll go to a contending team. What do I have to go and fight Max Domi on a night that I know we ain't winning, and I know you guys are no-shows? That's the way it works.
Once a team hits that point, isn't that death? Once you're looking around the other team, guys going, if he's not, I'm not. And then you're all dead.
I saw it Saturday night. I'd be really worried right now.
Yeah.
I saw it Saturday night. Like, you are a young team. A lot of you guys have already been paid already.
Mm-hmm.
Slafkovsky's 20 next year, and he's making 8 large. Hey. And you go into Toronto on a Saturday night, coast-to-coast hockey night in Canada, and that's what you bring, you guys? You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Let me do some role-playing here. I'll be Kent Hughes, and you guys be Brad Treliving. Hey, Brad, I have this guy, Slafkovsky, first overall pick. He's had a little bit of slow start to his career, but he scored 20 goals, lots of promise. Would you give us Matthew Nyes for him? What is the response?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
You're doing it.
I mean, his pedigree, he's his first overall pick. It just happened. He's a huge guy.
No chance. I laugh him off the phone, hang up.
I'm not giving up Nyes for Slafkovsky.
Agree. Like, I'm sorry.
But it's never going to happen. It's just like, but like you think you've got your answer for that. And I hope Slafkovsky turns out to be this power forward that can, look like, Kevin Stevens in his heyday in Pittsburgh, or, power John LeClaire type. Yeah. But I'm not sure how much true finish he has to be a top scorer, but a good power grinder.
The example I used to you guys in our group chat about it was when Anaheim was doing their big rebuild, and it was like they had Max Jones and Sam Steele and Ricard Raquel, and who was the Z1? Wasn't there
Zegras?
No, anyway, there's another way. Anyway, it was
Owen
like
Zellweger? Is that a guy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like you always think when you have young players, it's like the core is coming. The core is coming. Sometimes the core is not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buffalo had how many versions of their core that didn't pan out? And it's like, there's a lot of red flags there. Anyway, too much Montreal talk.
listen, not to get ahead of ourselves, but Ottawa's coming in tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not much far off in terms of the mindset that they should have in coming to play a top team like Toronto right now.
Yep.
Where it's like, boys, you got the stage. It's a big stage. You want to stay on the path of credibility. Go in there and fight fire with your hockey club. You know, your young guns.
Mm-hmm.
They're all signed up. They've got their money right now. So what's left? Go out there and show it. I'm hoping that Ottawa can come in tomorrow night and at least try to match and push the Toronto Maple Leafs back. The Montreal just refused to even try.
Ottawa actually reminds me of previous versions of Toronto where it's like there's Brady Tkachuk and then they don't have much bite there amongst these young guys that are their next wave of guys, whether it's Sanderson or Chabot on the back end or Giroux or Stutzler or Batherson or Norris or.
So, big story from the game on Saturday, and we'll get into it a little bit with our doctor correspondent after the break.
Yeah,
Max Pacioretty goes down with a unidentified hammy leg something injury,
which was really
odd,
a strange one because he got cross-checked from behind. And
it's almost like he
it happened
reached for the back
earlier,
of his
though.
leg.
Someone caught their toe of the skate underneath him on a previous play, not right where it happened. I don't think it happened at the moment he was done.
So, Berube clips 7 on losing Pacioretty, and listen to the tone of his voice when he talks about this.
Well, it's bad enough, that's for sure. I mean, that's a loss. I mean, this guy was playing good hockey for us. Really that power forward hockey with his physicality and, his ability to hang on to pucks in the offensive zone, score some goals and things like that. So it's unfortunate for him and us. I feel for him, with the injuries over the years he's had the last few years, and but he'll grind through it. He's a worker and very good pro, and he'll get back.
Who did he hammer Saturday night in the wall? And I think it was Gooley, maybe.
Yeah.
And Gooley just like what was that freight train that hit me?
Like UFC fighters who hit and it doesn't look hard, and everyone just goes.
When I see a guy like Pacioretty go and get a freebie on a Montreal Canadien like that, and again see no response out of anybody to say anything or hit anybody else, I'm like. That's a good
rot.
They got no
guys. Sorry, Montreal.
Yeah,
that's a good night for Toronto, and it's Pacioretty continually pounding on guys and having his way physically. I'm like this guy's valuable now.
Yeah.
He went from someone that we went and rolled our eyes on and saying, is he going to be around after 10 games to like opening up holes? Like
you're in on
Tavares.
that, eh? Like you actually think he's been meaningful to them?
Oh, buddy, it's like I
He's got 6 straight games, no
did
points.
that for a living.
Yeah.
Like I can identify when a guy goes in there and hits hard, and this guy hit like a Mack truck.
Yeah,
he just didn't. It's not these bummy checks or just Did anyone see me? Did I get credited with a hit there? No, this was like I'm going in to hurt you,
right? And
like.
It's funny, he's the most willing to do that. Not McMahon, not Holmberg.
He brought value. I don't know at his age how long it was going to last, or could he go through the whole season like it?
We got our answer.
Did this
exactly 12 games?
Did this somehow tie into just overextending himself?
Yes.
And listen, we got our doctor segment coming up after the break, and. That's one of the first kind of questions I'm going to ask him is like when you're physically putting your body through a different kind of toll, can something like that trigger something that maybe breaks down indirectly? So then the big question is he's playing in the top 6. He's playing on one of the 2 top lines because you would assume, unless they want to split up Marner and Matthews or whatever, but they're going to keep Willie and Tavares together.
Who goes into that spot with those two guys now? Is it a rotating cast? Is it just see who gets going?
You got to give McMahon some chance at some point to be the guy you thought he could be.
Yeah.
He needs a chance to just say, hey, here's 3 games.
Yeah, I think you can start with McMahon, and if not, then you go to Holmberg, you go to Robertson, you rotate them, you move them in and out, see if anybody steps in and steps up.
Or old Max. We didn't have time to get to that, but he's got 10 straight games, no points, playing top 6. It's not been ideal.
Anything on Järnkrok you found a setback for Järnkrok?
Just to answer at practice today, there was multiple guys on maintenance day, including Nylander and Domi. So Benning was in the top 6 today, but McMahon was up there with Tavares, so that means probably that he's going to start on that line, and we'll see how it goes. But Dewar's maybe back soon. Yeah, Järnkrok is interesting. Let's listen to that clip from the general manager who talked today about Järnkrok's injury.
Yarny's it's been slow, and I'd say he had a setback over the weekend, and so we're just going to kind of reset here, and I think he's going to New York to a specialist today or tomorrow to get looked at, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Oof. Sounds like surgery.
Sounds like Robidoux Island to me.
I don't think he plays again this year. November 11th,
he's got
setback, go and see a specialist now.
Groin, hernia, sports hernia thing.
Yeah.
Which is
not good.
Yeah,
I had a doctor tell me sports hernia is not a thing.
It's just all right. What was Mitch Marner's contract? Why is that up?
It's a funny clip. Derek, can you play that clip
2
for us?
seconds?
It's very funny, yeah.
Any contract thoughts on Mitch?
Always got
thoughts. I said thoughts.
I've always got lots of thoughts.
Because they say any talks, and said, I think it was Kevin McGran asked, any thoughts on the contract instead of talks?
Lots
and
of
he
thoughts.
said, lots of thoughts.
Lots of thoughts. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll get into a little bit more on a hamstring injury to Max Pacioretty and how long we think he'll be out.
All right.
Dr. Jason Smith, orthopedic surgeon, after the break, and our doctor.
Doctor, and doctor.
Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. It's the Leaf Edition hour, the real Kyper and Bourne show. Okay, out of the OV Surgical and Scarborough Health Network with 20 years around professional sports. Currently the team doctor of the Toronto Blue Jays. And our go-to guy when we pretend to be a doctor and we're not. Doctor Jason Smith.
There he is. Doctor.
Sammy, go ahead.
Doctor.
He's got the mic off. He's like, yeah, doctor.
Smitty, how are you, buddy?
We were way better than last time.
We were. I know. Okay, let's get right to it, okay? I saw something really goofy. I saw Max Pacioretty get cross-checked and what looked like just a good shove in the back, and then he reaches out to his hamstring. What did you see, and what did the pictures tell us?
Yeah, so that injury is kind of one of those freak injuries where, getting that jolt in the back, all of a sudden he kicks his leg out to kind of stabilize himself, and his hamstring is acting in a way that it normally doesn't act. It's extending as it's contracting to control his balance. So it takes this abnormal force across it, and bang, that's when you see him grabbing his leg.
And go ahead, Kip.
No, just to follow it up, hamstrings are really rare, are they not, in hockey? Is it more of a goaltending thing?
No, we see hamstrings in hockey and in all sports all the time. They're quite common, actually. Especially these little grade 1 to 2s, adductors, hamstrings. We see them all the time.
Do they get pulled off the bone ever? Is that the rarity? Could he have pulled it right off a bone scenario?
No, the vast majority of time, these are tears within the fascia or within the muscle belly itself. The fibers of the muscle start kind of pulling and tearing. Rarely does it ever pull off the bone. I mean, when it does, that's catastrophic. That's surgery. That's 6 months. That's a whole different bag than we see 95% of the time, where it's just tearing within that muscle.
And so in terms of coming back to play for a guy who's, 35 years old, something like that, is it something that if you come back too soon, you can make worse? Is this something, how much time are we looking at to get a guy like him back?
Yeah, so I mean, they're for sure they've had an MRI. You know, they're calling it a strain, and he's on the IL, the short term. So I think they're thinking grade 1. You know, at most, they're thinking this is something he can come back, soon from. So he's 35 though, right? And he came off those 2 Achilles tendon, injuries where he had surgery on his other leg. And so over the last 2 years, like, has this guy been working out his legs like he normally would? Like, he's gone through so much, and he's 35. So of course they're going to be cautious. They're going to make sure they have this guy for a year and they want to use him. So they're not going to push him back right away. But you would think a strain, a grade 1, a guy like this, a couple weeks, he could be back.
Grade 2 would be 4 to 6 weeks?
No, it depends. Once you get to grade 3s, where the muscle fibers actually start to separate and there starts to be gaps and stuff, then you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks. But, grade 1 strain, no, a couple weeks. So
you mentioned his surgeries on his Achilles tendon. Like, is it far-fetched to think that the body sometimes overcompensates, or one may have to do with another, or is that just a stretch?
No, absolutely, right? Ankle bone's connected to the knee bone, connected to the hip bone. Like, it's all part of the whole functional balance of his lower extremities, of his core. So he's rehabbing one. He's dealing with something on one side for a couple of years. No doubt it's having an effect on his ability to train and balance and stabilize himself, those big muscles. He can't work them in the same way. So these are all related. These are all connected, no question.
Doc, I'll turn it to Calle Järnkrok, another Toronto Maple Leaf, who one of the words that they said with his injury was sports hernia. I was talking to our mutual friend, Dr. Carolyn Scott, and she told me a sports hernia is not really a thing. And I was like, what do you mean it's not a thing? So is a sports hernia not really a thing? Is that right?
No, it's a thing. It's just not a hernia as we think about it. A hernia is like the pushing of your organs through the fascia in your stomach wall.
Awesome, sounds great.
And that's not what these are. These are little kind of micro tears, little injuries of the abdominal fascia and structures down by your pubis there. So it's more of a strain of the fibers of the muscles in that area, not a traditional hernia where stuff starts poking through. So sports hernia exists, and it's used to describe a group of injuries that aren't like traditional hernias. So I think that's what she was getting at.
So why is his not getting better, and what's the next step? A type of surgery? What would a surgery do for Järnkrok?
Yeah, in situations where they don't get better, you actually have to go in there and open up that fascia and repair that. In extreme circumstances. But, they're difficult injuries. They present in such weird ways, and some guys get through them and some guys don't. And the vast majority of the time, this is non-surgical. But, if you can't get through it, you got to open it up, throw some sutures in there and get her fixed.
All right, doctor.
Doctor.
And
doctor.
Great stuff, man. Really appreciate your time under short notice, giving us the goods. Thanks,
Anytime,
Doc.
guys.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Thanks.
All right.
Patches.
See, we don't just play one on TV. We actually get one.
Compensating. Could be compensating.
He's an old guy. Blue hammy.
I'm a hammy. You know what's funny is I was thinking of the tweet while we're doing this segment. It's you. I'm only 35. I have my whole life ahead of me. Sports broadcaster. Here comes the oldest player in the league. He's 32. A miracle.
100%.
It's like we're talking about Pacioretty like we're going to roll him out of there on a gurney. He's 35.
It is, though, for a guy that's been through what he's been through in the last year and a half, 2 years with that goofy.
Oh, those are definite. That's
right?
Extenuating.
And the thing that worries me the most about it with him, it sucks, is that you could tell the way he's playing, he was trusting everything.
Mm-hmm.
He was hammering guys. He was skating hard. He was
his cardio's up.
He's trusting everything. And now you sit in the shelf for 3-4 weeks. You come back, or you trusting everything's going to not.
You're bagging yourself after practice, trying to get your wind back.
It's not going to be. Listen, I'm going to say this breaking news right here. It's not going to be the same when he comes back.
Yeah, I agree with Sam.
Sure, like Nick Robertson's really disappointed.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
keeping him up at night for sure.
And
I want to know how Nick made that happen. That's what I want to know.
Knock against him because we've all been in that
there.
situation.
Be like, oh no, the one guy ahead of me on the power
Yes.
play's hurt.
Yes.
That's too bad.
Oh, maybe you got to come to me now.
I'm not sure Nick's ever going to score again. He scored right. He
scored.
No, he didn't. It was a clear goalie interference. I mean, Bob McMahon booted the goalie in the face as he was about to shoot in the net.
He blew on him.
Yeah.
Barely.
But I thought it was pretty funny that Nick Robertson in front of me in the net that I was sitting behind scored the first goal of the game. I'm like,
And he looked at you and pointed.
He's like, it's that guy. It's that guy. Yeah.
Losing a little bit of faith in old Nick.
Me too.
I said preseason 20-goal guy. I said if he went somewhere else, could be a 25-goal guy. I don't know if he's a 12-goal guy.
I don't know. He's a 5-goal guy.
Can he get the opportunity up the lineup? Maybe can we? He's never going to make it work on a checking line
I think he's going to get a few looks.
in Columbus.
That's down the road, I think.
Yeah.
Wanted to quickly mention on Friday night, the Red Wings didn't play very well, obviously. Derek Lalonde was with some of the most stunningly bad coaching I've seen in a long time.
Oh.
What did you not like that stood out?
At the end of the game, their Leafs are up 2-1. The Detroit Red Wings have offensive zone time for what must have been a minute and a half with like 2 minutes left in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get the goalie out.
Yeah.
They don't get the goalie out. It's like, I was sitting with the guys, I'm like, they're not going to get the goalie out? Then they bring the puck.
Got to exercise caution.
And then they bring the puck back into their own zone, and the goalie leaves with like the breakout. Like they're breaking it out, and he's skating out, and then Tavares just picks a pocket, shoots it into an open net. It was unbelievably bad. Just you have offensive zone time.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I don't know.
God, they're in
We're going to
trouble.
start hearing Joel Quenneville's name there a little bit more.
I mean, but what's he? Their roster is not very good.
I know.
It's a lot of guys that just, I'm like, who is that?
A guy like Joel can come in and he can wear the rest of the season and miss the playoffs off of Lalonde's.
You know what this reminds
year.
me of? What you're talking about?
And
Rick
then,
Tocchet.
and then have the pressure
Yeah.
the following year to make the playoffs.
But there's way more talent in Vancouver than there is in Detroit, in my opinion.
There's some good players.
Yeah.
They got some good players, but they're not
Tocchet got the most out of everyone.
They're not that far off to even Montreal. Where are we sure who? Like, we know they're talented players. We know that they can.
But what's
They
their
can
ceiling?
score, but like,
What's Dylan Larkin's offensive ceiling?
Who is gonna? Yeah, exactly. Like, who's
Andrew Kopp, Alex DeBrincat,
who's gonna really take this team by the throat and
JT
just
Compher.
drag people? with them?
Tarasenko.
Who wants Patty
Tarasenko
Kane?
and Kane, I told you, made no sense to me.
77 red and white. Edvinson. Oh my God. I know he's part of their rebuild. Maybe just a bad night for him on Friday. I don't know. They're just no one.
6'6" and young is hard.
When you go out there and you watch a team, you're like expecting, you're like, okay, that's the guy that jumps out to me. That's the guy that jumps out. They just have it's a lot of blah.
Mid.
You know what
Mid.
they did? They went out and spent money the second a D-man would look good. They're like, Ben Sherratt had that run to the playoffs in Montreal.
Yeah.
Get Ben Sherratt. Justin Hull, the rumors are he's pretty good.
Looks good.
He's fine.
Justin Hull looks good.
No, I'm saying
No,
they
I
got
meant like-
before they got him.
He did.
Well, the numbers liked him. Jeff
Okay.
Petrie had a couple of years where it was like, oh, Jeff Petrie. And it was like, get him.
3.5, 4 hour drive from Detroit.
The scouts can't make the
Toronto.
trip.
How did you not know what
Sherratt, Petrie, Hall.
was?
He's in your division. Ugly.
Buddy, I'm not saying it's
You know?
good. I'm not sitting here saying they did good. They did bad.
Bad.
Mid?
Yeah.
Mid.
Thought Patty Kane looked good though. Had a couple moments with the puck where he still
Did
looked like Patrick Kane.
Yeah, actually moves like them, but
Yeah. I mean, the
half a
ghost of
point a
Patrick
game.
Kane,
Yeah,
maybe.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways,
Just like our show today, mid.
oh,
Are we mid or are we good?
No, we're mid as hell today.
Mid. We're going to get good in the next hour
Yeah.
as we go national. Kevin Cheveldayoff, general manager of the hottest team in hockey.
I wonder why he agreed to come on.
The hottest start in history. 14-1. Don't go away. We go national next. It's the national edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver and Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. And let's not forget Derek Brandeo and Jen Rolnick as well. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Kevin Cheveldayoff, general manager of the Winnipeg Jets. Saw Kevin last night at Coley Campbell's Hall of Fame dinner last night.
Oh, nice. Where was that at?
Yeah. Sammy, you're on a need-to-know basis with me, and right now you don't need to know.
There are doors with no signs on them in this city that people like them go eat at.
How was it?
Sorry.
Next to Coley getting inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, Kevin Cheveldayoff probably had the biggest smile there.
As he should.
With good reason.
Yeah.
The hottest start in NHL history.
All they do is win, man. All they do is win. Hellebuck was named the NHL's first star of the week. He had consecutive shutouts for the first time in his career, which no big deal. Yeah, 4.47 goals per game, 2.07 goals against per game, a plus 36 goal differential, and a 42% power play. Well, I mean, what else do you want? End the season now. They've done enough. Put them in playoffs. Let them have a bye the rest of the way.
This was supposed to be the Edmonton Oilers start.
It was. Absolutely it was.
Can you imagine what we'd be saying about Edmonton right now if that was the case?
Unbeatable is what we would say. So you will never beat this team.
Give them the trophy now because they came within a game in the spring, but now they are next level stuff.
So, yeah, Winnipeg doesn't quite get that same level of respect here, but maybe, well, I shouldn't say maybe, is due a lot more respect than they've been given in most places, I think. And, they're starting to play some real teams here. This is not a mirage. They got a good club.
And you mentioned the Oilers there in your little conversation. They beat the crap out of the Canucks on Saturday night. Was it 7-3, 7-2, 7-3, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think they're warming up a bit?
You'd think.
McDavid with 2-2.
Yeah.
Maybe showing some signs of coming back to life.
Well, that part will never get questioned.
Right.
That they could just find a way to turn that switch on between Draisaitl and McDavid, and then they pull up the rest of them. That blue line, on the other hand, still has some question marks here.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to make a change at some point. They need a little bit of help on the back end. Canucks are a curious team. 7-3-3. Great start. -1 goal differential. Curious there. Not sure about goaltending.
And they just have trouble at home.
Yeah. What the heck is that about?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That is a little strange.
And the other big news out of Canada is Anthony Mantha is out for the year for the Calgary Flames ACL. So
hate to over-dramatize it, but they don't have a ton of guys. So when you lose a guy like that who can be impactful, that sucks. But they're trying to lose, are they not? Is that not part of this year's plan?
That wasn't the plan in the first little while, that's for sure. They had a lot of people excited about the start, and you start envisioning that this could be a team that can just overachieve. Mm-hmm. But for how long?
7-5-3 right now, 17 points through 15 games.
It's not a bad record for them.
No, not bad at all. And it helps that beneath them, Seattle, Anaheim, San Jose, none of them look particularly great. So you think that, they could stay up there and stay in the fight. Obviously, it's not over for them, but that hurts them quite a bit.
Yeah. All right. Couple minutes, we'll welcome in Kevin Cheveldayoff. Outside of that, where do you want to go?
League-wide or around Canada? Or do you want to go league-wide, leave Canada for a little minute here?
Nathan McKinnon?
Just before we do that, we do have Kevin now.
All right, let's welcome him in. Kevin Cheveldayoff, General Manager of the Winnipeg Jets, along with the hottest start in NHL history. Chevy, how are you, man? Thanks for doing this.
I'm doing well. Thanks very much for having me on today.
Good. I just told the guys moments ago, last night, we saw each other, and next to Coley, you probably had the biggest smile on your face for good reason. Justin, moments ago, just before he came on, said, at 14-1, will we start seeing you make some healthy scratches and just keeping guys out until the playoffs start?
Just resting up.
Load management.
Will you load management?
Analytics department working on that right now to give us some good recommendations.
Okay, you would have hoped for a good start, but where does this come out, and how do you explain this in your eyes, this start?
Well, again, it comes in kind of dribs and drabs, and so to speak. It's come in a lot of different revelations. It hasn't been just one guy playing great. It's been different things, and we probably didn't deserve to win every game. We won 3 in overtime. We all know those can go, either way. And the other night, 2 nights ago, I guess, when we played Colorado and beat them 1-0, we had no business winning that game, other than Connor Hellebuck wasn't going to let us lose that game. And again, there's been different guys that have stepped up, different lines that have stepped up. Not only top 6, there's been bottom 6, but I think for us it's just kind of like we ended the season last year on a down note, obviously with the playoffs. We had some tough conversations as a group, with respect to the veteran players coming back and the leaders of this team. We had a quasi-coaching change. Obviously, Scott Arniel's the head coach, but he was the associate coach. So the philosophy of the team shifted a little bit. I think Scott's got a little bit of a different approach, but the foundation, he's been here part of laying that foundation for a couple of years. But I just don't think we've kind of gotten very high with the wins. It's just one by one, so to speak.
So when you headed into the season, you had to think you lost a couple decent players from playoffs last year, Monahan, Toffoli. And then, I guess a couple guys would have had to play at their very best or taken a step for you this season. When you look at your roster and go, this guy's success, him being as good as he's been is part of the reason we are where we're at. What names stand out for you as guys who've not overachieved, but just done really well?
Well, when Brendan Dillon moved on, and we knew that what we had in Dylan Sandberg, he was going to have to grow and grow into that, new opportunity for him. We always envisioned him, as someone that progresses into that. And sometimes you get that opportunity because, someone that you've been understudying for moves on or, transitions into a different part of the career. And so we've always been high on, on Dylan and his abilities, and now he gets that chance to show it. Cole Perfetti last year, at different points in time, obviously, showed excellent, different things with the organization. Unfortunately, when we made a trade, he might have got stunted a little bit, but, obviously it's his time to try and run with it. Kyle Connor, Nikolai Ehlers, Mark Scheifele, Gabe Velarde, guys that, again, we go to them and say, this is your team. You guys need to, get, X% better over the summer and come back and be that much of a group of leaders. Adam Lowry being our captain obviously brings a different element to our team on a nightly basis. But when we had our exit meetings last year, like there was, the guys felt that there was a lot of unfinished business and talk is cheap, but they felt, they kind of talked about we need to come back, whatever it is, X amount % better next year and do things a little bit differently somehow in order for us to, get to take that next step.
We're talking to Kevin Cheveldayoff, general manager of the Winnipeg Jets. Just want to talk Cole Perfetti a little bit here because it's clear that there's next level stuff going on with him, with a chance to maybe score 65, 70 points. The decision to bridge him outside of maybe giving him one of those long-term deals. And Chevy, we've seen a few of them, with Slavkovsky and Lafreniere and so many of them. And it's not to compare, play to play here, but just the challenges of general managers now making big-time decisions on hedging or betting on that this guy's going to be this player. That's why I'm locking him in for 8 years, and I'm willing to commit this, and I'm hoping in 3 or 4 years it'll look like a bargain. But that's got to be really tough on you and your staff and your ownership group on some nights to really make a big decision, right?
Well, I think everybody, it's incumbent upon every team in the National Hockey League to manage their cap prudently. And, over the years, we've done different things. We've had different situations present themselves, and we've had to, act accordingly. Obviously, Gabe Velarde, we bridged him a couple of years ago, and, he's someone that's continuing, to grow and blossom, and I think is going to be a big part of what we have going. Obviously, you talked about Cole, Josh Morrissey. We had to bridge, back in the day, and obviously it's worked out well. Where for him, Connor Hellebuck, we bridged. So there's lots of different scenarios. Sometimes you're in a cap situation where you can take advantage of where you think your projections on your team are going to go. Obviously, for us, there's probably been a few guys that we have to slow the process down a little bit because of the cap, and some guys over the course of time we've benefited from being able to jump out and go long term. But again, cap management looks differently for every different player, every different team, every different situation, and we're just kind of go about our business in our own Winnipeg Jets way.
So looking at the way the end of last season ended, and you mentioned that earlier in our chat here, I look at the San Jose Sharks of old who never ended up winning a cup but were really successful in the regular season. We talk about the Leafs for an hour a day, so we've seen their postseason disappointments. When you look at the success your team is having, do you feel like you're better geared for that postseason matchup when you get there?
Well, so one of the things that we talked about is, obviously, we needed to play with more speed. I don't know that we played with enough speed in that playoff series. And, that's one thing. Like, you look at a player like, Rasmus Kupari right now, he's playing on our fourth line, but our fourth line has been, I think, a lot of our success. And maybe not from a, point production standpoint, although last game, they were very instrumental in us, winning our last game. But, what they've been instrumental in is that, Arnie, Coach Scott Arniel can put them out there whenever he wants. Like he doesn't have to line match. He doesn't have to, feel like I can't play these guys against whoever, or I can go on the road and I can just roll the lines as I want. And that's the importance. When we kind of, traded for those players, for Velarde and for Iafallo and for Kupari, we did it with the mindset that this was going to change the complexion of our team to more of a balanced kind of depth approach as opposed to, maybe more of a top-heavy type of approach. And, again, time will tell. Obviously, you've got to make the playoffs. That's the first and foremost thing. You've got to eliminate 8 teams, which in our conference and certainly in our division is no easy thing to do. So it's a long season. We've played 15 games. We're very, very fortunate to be in the situation that we're in. I'd take that over anything. But, obviously there's lots of runway ahead of us.
Kevin, we had Rick Bowness, your former coach, on maybe a couple of weeks ago, and he just talked about how that room just needed to be settled. And now that they've had ample time to be together, it's bearing the fruits right now. Does this start give you even a bigger appreciation for what team chemistry can do to a hockey club? And maybe, is it a little overestimated sometimes, the rush at a trade deadline to get somebody or a group of guys and force feed a chemistry, or does it just have to take its organic shape?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right there, Kyper. It's sometimes, the best things, are unanswered prayers. Everybody, at the trade deadline, you want to add, you want to do this, but you have to be careful. And these players, if you get to that trade deadline, you have to assess where you're at because they're battle tested together. If you're a group that has, done some different things, you have to be very, very cognizant of that. Now, that being said, depth in a long playoff run can never be underestimated because all it takes is one injury and it changes everything. So that's the fine line. That's the balance. As a management team, as an organization, you just have to prepare for all different avenues and be prepared. And you don't really succumb to the outside noise. It's more what you feel internally, can or cannot help. There's lots of organizations. I go back to the Washington Capitals when they won the championship there. They added some depth around the edges, and they won the Stanley Cup. So for every time there's a story of someone being traded at the deadline, there's another story of a team going on to greatness. Where they just kind of added in depth position.
So looking across your roster, there's some guys playing well enough that I imagine they will get some opportunity in the Four Nations face-off come February. Name that stands out to me when we're doing our Team Canada roster projections is Josh Morrissey. He has really emerged as one of the NHL's, very reliable first pair D in the NHL.
And again, if you watch him on a nightly basis, you truly appreciate, what he brings to the team. Because on some nights, he leads our team in shot blocking. On other nights, he leads our team, from a power play. And on every night, he leads our team from, breaking the puck out of our zone quickly so that you're out of the end, or breaking up rushes coming into your zone. And arguably, again, you're going down the line here when we were making our choices for Adam Lowry to be captain. You got Mark Scheifele and Josh Morrissey that equally could have been the captains of these teams. He's just such a well-rounded player and student to the game. Just a wonderful ambassador for the community. And again, I think Canada would be very, very proud if they and very happy with his play if he gets a chance to play in that cup.
Kevin, obviously, coming out of the West is still a challenge, no matter what your record is up against. In a perfect world, do you feel like your lineup can match up against anybody's right now, or is there still a sense that there's a specific area that you think that you is it maybe being a little tougher behind the blue line, or is it adding more depth? But I'm not asking you for trade secrets here, but sure. How does it match up against what you believe will be your biggest challenges to come out of the West?
Well, we haven't played everybody yet, obviously. So, there's going to be those kind of challenges. And, again, the great equalizer in all of this is injury. So you don't know what every team is going to come up with the injury. But for us, honestly, and we say it, but we really, really mean it, is you have to eliminate 8 teams. You got to get in. And that's the focus of this group, is playing the right way. And hopefully it continues to be our focus, or else again, if you lose your compass at any point in time, this game is very, very unforgiving. So it's a steady, 82 game march, and we're going to play some teams that obviously are saying the same things, and we'll have to measure ourselves and as it comes up to the challenge. But at the end of the day, we're very, very fortunate to have a player like Connor Hellebuck who mans our crease, for the majority of time. And obviously we talked about some of the, the great players we have up front, but I think the underlying factor for us, and whether we win or whether we don't, is I see a commitment level from this group to want to try to do it together. And they're open to listening. They're open to, hearing what the coaches have to say. And I think that's important, as a group, whatever the outcome is going to be in the end.
So Kyle Connor's obviously electric, goal scoring. Nikolai Ehlers also has 9 goals. But is it silly of me to say that when I think of the Winnipeg Jets, the thing that defines the Jets to me is the third line of Niederreiter, Lowry, and Appleton?
I think that, again, for several different things, it defines us because that's how we have to play.
Right.
We have to play with that mentality of a 1-0 game. And when you can get the ultra skilled players to buy into that, the Scheifele's, the Connors, the Ehlers, the Perfettis, the Velardis, those guys to buy into playing like that's when you have, something. And again, like our fourth line, we don't look at it as a fourth line. It's kind of like third line light. And, again, that's what we want to try and achieve. That's what we want to try and accomplish. And if you watch us on some nights, and things are going well, chances are we're sticking to that identity. And on nights when we're not, it's probably pretty easy to see that we're not playing to our identity.
We're talking to Kevin Cheveldayoff, presently in Toronto, taking in the Hockey Hall of Fame festivities. Also on the agenda, Kevin, if I'm not mistaken, all the general managers are getting together tomorrow.
Yeah.
I believe on the agenda will be video review or the length of time that it takes. Where are you on that, or just in general, where those conversations can go?
Well, one thing about these meetings in November is they're here to spur on conversations. We'll get updates, from about a lot of different aspects of the hockey operations and maybe a little bit on the business operations. But as it pertains to the game of hockey, you don't make any rule changes necessarily at these November meetings. It's kind of a conversation session on a lot of different things. So I'm sure we'll hear some things from the National Hockey League. Those guys watch every game, so that's the thing. As managers, you're so immersed in your game and what things, your perspective on different things. The people in the hockey operations department, they watch every game, so they see everything. They look at all the trends, and they, so they'll give you updates, and we'll have some spirited conversations, about different things. But where the game has come from to where it is at right now. Yeah, there's some nights where I'm sure we all get angry at different aspects of things, but where it's grown to, it's in a pretty good spot.
Well, your team gets right back at it, if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow night in New York. Wish you all the best, pal.
Thanks very much. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks, Chevy. Appreciate it.
All right, that's 14-1, Chevy.
What is, that division, Nashville at the bottom, Colorado below 500, Minnesota's 10-2-3. What is cats or dogs? Everything's upside down. No, I mean, not that I didn't expect the Jets to be good, but 14-1, holy smokes.
I love how he's like, we're not in the play. Yeah, I mean, unless you lose every game.
It is, hey, how about that, hockey talk where it's you still got to get in.
Get in.
Yeah, you guys play with wrong-handed sticks from now and get in.
Maybe 10 years from now, you'd be like, can everybody just relax? It's 15 games. But we know how it works. And it's hard at any time to be buried underneath 3 or 4 teams trying to make the playoffs.
Well, there's
and
a 3-point league.
And everybody's going to get their 3 points, and everybody's going to beat each other. And to make any ground at all, you need to go on a heater.
You absolutely do. You need a long winning streak.
Like Winnipeg just now. It's like, come on, you put that string together. You're going to ride this thing for the next 4 months.
Yeah. And once you start to win, people buy into your system and they play it tighter. They're like, all right, this thing the coach wants us to do works. Let's do it really well. So that helps. And then your team is saying, okay, at the deadline, we're going to make you guys better. All these things snowball in a positive direction. Meanwhile, we talked about the Canadiens in the first hour of our show where they're going, this doesn't work. Not sure if I want to fight because we're down so much. All the stuff when it's negative goes that way too. So the Jets on the right side of that.
And the Nashville Predators in the division now dead last in the Western Conference with 11 points through 15 games, minus 13 goal differential.
But old Trotz had to walk back that rebuild comment, didn't he?
Oh, he was.
He's like, well, we wouldn't rebuild. He had some quotes about how it would be a rebuild if they lost again. He's like, maybe we would just.
Can we get the beep, beep, beep to back it up?
It's I need to find a couple of reporters to get out there that I didn't really mean it like that.
No, not a rebuild. Just a retool. I'll retool you.
Brock Besser, out indefinitely. Don't really know when he's coming back. Rick Tocchet said that he wasn't sure how long he was going to be out. He wasn't overly concerned, but Tanner Giroux with Jeannot, with 3 games.
Bad hit, man.
And
should have been more.
Yeah,
should have been more.
I thought
what are we doing?
I thought it was bad.
Yeah,
3 games.
That's one of the ones where it's that is clearly a malicious blindside headshot to a guy who's had concussion issues, if I'm not mistaken.
And it's just, to me, my thoughts on the player department. I don't think they're probably a very big fan.
If a Leaf had done it.
They're not a very big fan of my opinions, but that's a terrible suspension.
Yeah.
Brock Besser, it's not a bang play. It doesn't have an effect on the game. It's not there's some mistake that was made. A big, tough guy made a decision to throw an elbow into a guy's head unsuspected from the blind side, and you're going to give him 3 games? You could have talked me into 6 or 7. That's a rotten hit. Yeah. Rotten.
And who knows when Besser's back.
Strange timing for to lose Sprong to Seattle with Brock Besser out. That
was a weird one.
20-goal scorer in Detroit.
I just didn't like him, I guess.
I don't know. That was
sometimes
quick.
The coach is like, I'm not going to use this guy. Or do you think something behind the scenes, maybe personality conflict?
Well,
that happens a lot more than people know. Where
It's
there's
always a personality. I don't like the way you personally play. Right? It's always a conflict.
yeah.
That's funny.
You know, it is true though. Like, I think sometimes when you're in the dressing room, you have a guy who's not taking well to their role, and part of the reason that they move on, maybe he's good, but not good enough with that attitude.
So, yeah, and I think
Not that I'm saying that's his case.
Svilov's got called back up today. I wonder how much longer they're going to go without Demko here. Seems like eventually it's got to happen.
Yes. I don't know. Let's do game time.
All right.
It's game time.
You got it. It's game time. Presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Between 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Now, a few games on the schedule tonight. I'm looking at a couple here. Colorado Avalanche are at home to the Nashville Predators. They are minus 140 favorites in that game. I love the way they're looking recently. Nathan McKinnon is on fire, and he's lighting it up.
McKinnon almost has 2 points a game. 15 games, he has 29 points.
I feel like they could get to the total just themselves, the Colorado Avalanche, the way they're going offensively. Maybe not as great defensively, maybe some goals in this game. So give me the over at minus 115, over
Love
six
that bet.
over 6.5 goals in there.
Love that.
And you could also talk me into the Colorado Avalanche minus a goal and a half at plus 165. And looking elsewhere, the Calgary Flames are home to the LA Kings. Just lost Anthony Mantha for the year. Love our Calgary Flames. Love our boy Kadri, who was so good to us on Friday. But I think they're heading in the wrong direction. Give me the LA Kings at minus 135 in Calgary tonight.
All right.
So somebody mentioned to me that before the season started, Nate McKinnon had a number in mind for total points
That he wanted to hit.
Yes.
Really?
How many did he have last year? Let's see here.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Before you look,
Okay.
guess what that number is?
Okay,
For this year? 150.
yeah. I was wondering if that weren't the case. Was it that high?
Higher.
What do you mean higher?
I'm telling you.
What are we talking about
mean?
here?
160.
It's the number, so he wants to be a 2 point per game player.
He had 140 last year.
Did he?
Yes. He had 100. He had 51. He had 51 goals, 89 assists for 140 points.
And guess what his pace is right
I'm
now?
going to do it. 1.93 times 82 equals 158.26.
Oh, he's got to get on his horse.
He's on a 159 pace.
Wow.
22 assists in 15 games is absurd. 7 goals.
22 assists. Yeah, it leads the league.
Anyways, it's not a bad thing to be 15 games in and currently on the pace that
Humming along.
you maybe circled.
That's pretty crazy. Cole Caulfield, first in the league in goals, 12.
Do you count the 15 points in the 4 games he gets at the Four Nations face-off in that total?
Here's to hoping.
And when he's shooting holes through Connor Hellebuck again? All right. Anyways, that was game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Between 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
What about Tage Thompson, boys? He got hurt today.
Yeah.
Do we know what happened?
I don't know what the injury is. I know that he's been back to being Tage Lemieux. Last year was not his year, but he's been awesome. 11 goals this season and a huge part of all their success. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they've been all right, I think. The Sabres,
Yeah, they won a
500
couple
team.
before the loss today. You can't blow it to Montreal
No, you
and
can't.
be a serious team.
I
mean, in terms of making playoffs.
I'm just looking at McKinnon's point totals. And, you talk about McDavid getting close to 1,000 here. McKinnon's at 928 points in 806 games played.
Oh, he's getting there this year.
He's going to finish really, really high when it's all said and done. Like him and McDavid both have an outside shot at the 2,000 point club to me.
He's age 29.
He's a little older. Maybe not 2,000 for him, but 1,500 up in the Sid numbers for sure.
Big numbers.
Big numbers. Unbelievable.
Okay, let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll get into a few things, including the revolving door of healthy scratches with the Philadelphia Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
That and more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. We're back on this Monday night, Real Kyper and Bourne. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne is brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. All right, Michkov.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the lineup tonight after Head coach Tortorella took him out of the lineup.
Yeah.
And I don't know when it was, but like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, where I read this article about this. The vibe out of Philly is very reminiscent of the Eric Lindros being a Flyer. And I'm like,
Michkov.
yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, could be the dumbest thing I've ever read. The dumbest.
Eric Lindros is...
Clearly you weren't born back then because...
It was like, look out for this offensive freight train.
This guy built an arena, a brand new arena. The whole world, the whole NHL revolved around this guy, where teams were volunteering, going public with 3 of their best players to try to get into the bidding with this guy. What world would you ever compare this guy to Eric Lindros?
I can't imagine. Eric Lindros is a freak of nature. Michkov is going to be a very good hockey player, but right now he's kind of a power play specialist, learning to play in the league. So, I would say they're looking for something in Philly to hang their hat on and say, we got one. We got one of the league's best.
Which, again, is okay, but when you're...
Healthy scratching, it seems...
When you're Tortorella
it seems like a pretty...
Is it rookie?
Me move from
it's a dumb
Horst as usual, but... Like, you mean...
No, I'm okay with it.
They suck.
I know, they do. They suck.
It's like he's your top pick. It's like, let's healthy scratch him so everybody asks about him and everybody talks about it. Just play him 10 a night.
There is a danger, Sammy, of a guy like this coming in, having early success, and then getting full of himself. And if Tortorella needs to remind him that you're still learning and you're not who you think you are right now, and put him up in the stands for a game or two, I'm okay with that, because at the end of the day, your team stinks. And it will continue to stink for quite a while here still. So that's all that's happened here. He needs to take some air out of this guy.
And they're back. You put him back in the lineup for a home game, so that's good.
Yeah.
2 road games down in Florida.
Watch a game. Tort said it himself. Watching a game is not a huge deal for a kid that age, as long as he takes it properly. It doesn't say, I'm going back to the KHL.
Who's coming out now?
Drysdale.
Frost.
Jamie Drysdale.
Drysdale, but he's IR.
Frost is scratched. Is that right?
Yes. And
Drysdale, IR, upper body injury.
Upper body. Okay. He's not a healthy scratch, though.
Nope.
But I like Torts being like, nobody is above what we're doing here. We're losing. We're bad. None of you are too good to come out.
Yeah.
I guess.
But they've got no goaltending right now, and I don't know where Fedotov is.
Samuel Arison.
I guess they've got some upside, but
I mean, losing Carter Hart suddenly definitely affected their free situation.
Yeah, I don't need to read out the numbers of Fedotov, but they are bad. So
not good.
What were you talking about the break? You're going on about something? What do you want to do here?
I want to do numbers. I want to talk about contracts. Kip loves this part. I know this about Kip.
I love numbers.
He likes when someone throws out potential contract numbers. And so
you doing the Marner one here? Or?
No, we're not going to touch that.
We can have any conversation you want, man.
I like to check out Spectre's Hockey. Lyle Richardson always writes these sort of news, NHL rumor mill articles. So we'll start with Evan Bouchard, where he cites a Luke Fox article where Fox believes Edmonton Oilers could end up paying defenseman Evan Bouchard an AAV of somewhere in the $10.5 million range on his next contract. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are he's not that far off of that.
Really?
With the just the offense and the numbers that he can produce. So again, anytime you're dealing with these younger players and you're thinking about locking them in past their unrestricted free agent years, then that's where it's going. So they're picturing themselves as UFA. And what could I get out on the UFA? What would
Evan Bouchard
if Evan
shows
Bouchard
up as a
was
UFA.
Showing up as a UFA?
He had 82 points in 81 games last year as a defenseman who shoots it 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, he shoots it hard and has great offense, but boy, he's anyways.
He's
wrong. On pace for 40 points this year, though. Does that change how you feel about this?
Watch a lot of Oilers, bud. There is a lot of gaffes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gaffes.
Listen, were you worried about Connor McDavid's pace the first 2 weeks into the season? It's just, it'll balance it out.
Point pace, okay.
Point pace. Mm-hmm. And the answer is no, not really.
Do you think
Are you
Bouchard
worried about
is going to come back?
Austin Matthews? Even if he has an off year and he scores 60, it's still that guy.
He's in his early 20s scoring that many points.
Right? He's still that guy.
All
so someone's going to pay him for that offense. Someone's going to pay him for that shot.
So then you're going to pay Leon 14, Connor 15 then? He's getting more than Leon, presumably.
Up.
16?
No,
He'll take
Bouchard 10.5.
Now Connor's sitting there going, do I really want to squeeze another mil and not get
only
Bouchard
the Toronto guys do that? Only
So
the
what,
Toronto guys do
take
that?
the same as Leon?
No. You have to take more.
Yeah.
How much more? 1, 1.2, 1.5. Do you give him 15, 15.25? Call it a day.
I understand.
Call it a day.
The cap is going up. I understand that, but you're talking about 3 players and $30 million.
Yeah.
That's 40 million? 40 million. A lot of dough.
I know.
You know?
I know it is. But this is the way the league's gone, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, here you got your stars and then you got your seat fillers.
New York Islanders blue liner Noah Dobson could get something nearing $8 million annually on an 8-year contract if Lou Lamoriello wants to go long term. Now, for context, he's had 51 points, 49 points, and then last year 70 points. Struggling this year. But
$10 million?
You want to give him $8 million times 8 years.
They said $10 million times 8 years.
Maybe
in 2
I
or
did,
3
but I didn't mean
years.
to if I did.
Okay, for the next 4 years, is Dobson your top 2 defenseman?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
then $8 million for a
He's
top.
24 years old.
$8 million for a top 2. Even if those numbers drop again, even if he's giving you 50 or 55.
Morgan Riley's making 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't had any 7-point years at age 20, 70-point years at 23.
And again, like it's hard for people. We still want to do apples to apples, right? So if Morgan's at 7.5, but Morgan was 7.5 like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So they go by percentage points of the cap now.
He's got a case to make more than that for sure.
And there's also a case that the cap has been artificially suppressed. And the real cap should be around $100 million now.
Woo.
So it's gonna shoot up
to $100 mil.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get very quick
in the year 2035 or next
soon.
year.
No, next year's
maybe
in the 90s.
3 years, it'll be over $100 million in 3 years.
Just in time for Matthews to get his next contract.
So that's the issue. Throw me some more names.
All right, Wyatt Johnston. I think this was also our boy Luke Fox. Wyatt Johnston could get something comparable to the 7-year, $7.14 million AAV deal that Matty Beniers signed with the Seattle Kraken.
I love Wyatt Johnston.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Slow year, right?
Yeah.
Quite a slow year.
I love the player.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. And
Playoff player.
that one where you're hedging that in 3 or 4 years he's going to be one of your top players at $7 million would be a steal.
He's
for Dallas.
Yeah, he's 6'1", 21 years old. He only has 6 points this season, but last year had 65 points and 32 goals.
So we had Kevin Cheveldayoff, as we know, at the top of our show here, and I brought up Cole Perfetti, who could be in the ballpark of 60 points, 65, 70 points. Now, he bridged him. He didn't go give him the bait of locking him in for 7 or 8 years, because that one would have cost him probably 40, 45 million.
Oh.
Now, I think it was a few healthy scratches at the end of last season, but now it's a different ball game. So
Ridge is going to work in his favor.
It should.
13 points in 15 games for him.
If he ends up being this guy that can score 70 points, then Kevin lost because he could go UFA when he's 26. I think 26.
Was it PK Subban who had a bridge deal and then had a huge deal and cost Montreal a bunch of money?
Yeah, 9, I think.
Yeah.
But so instead of locking him in for 8 years at maybe 6.5 or 7. You might have to jump him up now to 8, 8.5. And the other thing too, but it's just not about the price. This is the other thing, and we're talking particularly the Winnipeg Jets, is do I have a guy that wants to stay here, or do I want a guy that if I give him a crack of leaving, he'll use it? Like I need players. I need players that want to play here.
Right.
And like we didn't know a few years ago if Scheifele and Hellebuck wanted to stay.
Yeah, and then they took great
did.
contracts.
Like, they got great contracts, but they also got the commitment that I want to be in Winnipeg.
Absolutely, that's a big part of it.
And that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Cole Perfetti, was it a smart move bridging him, or did that guy want to stay for 7 years? That's the other thing, too.
TBD, but yeah, that's a really good point. We started this conversation on Wyatt Johnston last year in the playoffs. 19
he was on
games
fire.
played. He had 10 goals and 16 points.
Couple overtime winners, too, I think, in that.
22 or whatever he was.
What I'm terrified to ask this one. Matthew Nyes?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, are we getting into the Slavkovsky territory?
Yeah, we are.
Like
I got news for
6,
you.
7, 8 million per year. If he's 22, 6'3", scores 30 goals this year,
Yeah, like
it ain't cheap.
Like, there's just no way that you're going to negotiate down on the fact that I was a first overall pick and you only went in the second round. It's like, that makes for stupid scouts. I shouldn't have to lose money because your scouts were dumb.
It is funny watching Nyes being like, really? Second round? That size, that offensive ability?
He's got
a rare gift from Dubas and Co. Thank you.
He's got a great situation where he's on the number one line. He's their best left winger right now, most consistent.
Give him credit
power play.
for staying at Minnesota when he did. At the time, it seemed silly, but now it's like, God, that helped. Extra year of puck handling and being the man, that helps.
And so, he's making $925 this year. He's an RFA after this season.
Well, he got to burn that goofy year off, right? Where he came out, he stayed 1 year, and then the second year he got to burn a year off the contract.
He started playing.
And now it's like, okay, bridge me. So what? Then there's an opportunity I could walk 3 years from now, right?
And, I mean, if he goes, especially with him being in Toronto, obviously more eyeballs on him. Obviously people like, I don't know, somebody maybe on the show talking with the potential of an offer sheet. Any other market that's just like under the radar kind of just doesn't happen. But here, this is going to be a thing. If they don't bridge him here, if he goes into the summer as an RFA, if there's no contract or whatever, there's going to be tons of offer sheet talk. It's going to be the hottest offer sheet talk ever.
I don't understand why, teams don't use that more.
I know.
It's worked out okay for
and it's happening
St.
more.
Louis.
It's crazy watching the Blues be like, yeah, we actually need both these guys now. They're both very good.
Yeah. I think Matthew Nyes is the exact type of guy that if you're a team with some cap space and you look at the Leafs cap picture and
Yeah,
you're
and
like,
also screw that team that can't spend extra
we know
money.
what they got to do here. We'll give him a lot of money. He fits our bill.
They do have the Tavares contract coming off that they'll match.
Yeah.
So,
And they also have Mitch Marner's contract coming off too.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot of money that you could fit somewhere else.
Yeah.
Luke Hughes in New Jersey has been a very good defenseman for them. The long-term comparable that they've used here is the 8-year, $8.5 million AAV deal for Brock Faber. Is Luke Hughes in the Brock Faber class of defensemen? I know you love Faber.
He was hurt, and I don't claim to have watched Luke enough to go, okay, that guy's just lights out. I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
But I have not watched enough.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he has a ton.
How many games under his belt?
Not a ton.
Like he's definitely shown flashes of big guy, skates well, offensive instincts. Like he looks good, but
doesn't help that who'd they lose to last night?
San Jose Sharks won nothing.
6'2", 200.
All bets are off. You guys stink if you lost to San Jose.
Last year, Luke Hughes had almost 50 points as a defenseman, almost 10
that's
goals.
impressive.
So
minus 25.
Yeah, 9 goals, 47 points.
Yeah.
25 and 8. They weren't even that bad. They were pretty bad last year.
Yeah.
Slow start this year with just 1 assist, but
he was hurt.
yeah. So that's one to keep an eye on. Sabres forward J.J. Peterka could seek something north of $7 million.
Oh, my God.
If Kevin Adams wants to use up some of his UFA years, everyone's getting all the money. You can feel the cap going up, and all of a sudden it's like middling guys are like, it should go to me, right?
This
Get extra
happened.
money?
This happened in the NBA.
I like Peterka, by the way.
The one year where the cap spiked like crazy.
Yeah.
And it was like Timothy Mozgov got all this money, like guys you've never heard of.
Buddy,
Luol
who is
Deng.
the name I gave you earlier this year? And I was like, who's that? And he got 212.
Oh, Şengün from the Rockets.
Şengün got a
Yeah.
$212 million contract. I was
Luol
like, I'm
Deng
sorry. Who?
But when
built a whole basketball program off the one contract he got from the
Africa,
Lakers.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, the South Sudan. So it's like, yeah, it was a cap explosion, and all these mid guys got extremely rich.
Yeah.
with so many deals still coming around for the league, I know there's TV money. If they find ways to still create revenue, the cap will jump. It's
TV deals
arguably a
aren't getting smaller.
$6 billion revenue, yearly revenue.
Well, and the rights are coming up in a year and a half.
We are going to hear like, oh my God, I can't believe that guy got paid that. It's just a matter of time when the cap gets bumped up that we're going to start hearing contracts to guys and going, that makes no sense.
But that's going to be like a price of a bag of groceries now, where you're like, wait, what am I paying for butter? You know, where everything feels crazy, but it's
I
like,
went to get 4 things. I spent $150. How did that happen?
But that's what's going to happen. Like, you know, this is salary cap
I'm
inflation. It's
really
coming.
surprised. Like the Rangers just have not like done the Shesterkin deal yet.
Yeah, like didn't Weeks tweet about it vaguely the other day?
Yeah, he did.
I'm not sure 11.5 gets it done.
You didn't think so at the time, but he tweeted 11.5 eyeballs.
Well, it
World
went from
Trade
11
Center.
to 11.5, but I think they got to get to close to 12.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Give Shesterkin credit. I couldn't personally be like, I think I'm worth 12. They're offering me 11.5 times 8. No, you know, like it's just like you're up to that and those numbers.
Playing
It's
one of the
like-
most high impact positions in all of
And
sports.
yeah, I can math what $500,000 is times 8. I get that.
What about
It's a lot.
Kirill? The thrill when your organization says, yeah, we're going to give you whatever you want. No one's going to outbid us.
They literally had their GM, their owner be like, no one will offer him more money.
That's when I fire my agent because I don't need to pay you anything
I can pick
when
my
I
number.
hear that and pick my number.
Drew Doughty do that? Did his own deal? Which I absolutely love.
Well, it's at 3% or 5% yearly.
Yeah, time you're making 11 schmil, or Drew's making 10.5.
Yeah, it's a nice way to make, save $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson did his own deal too. He doesn't have an agent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, he did at one point, and then I think he maybe got one later, but he did one of those deals. Without
Who
an
did
agent.
your
No one.
your lifetime deal with Sportsnet here, Sammy, or the Fan 590?
I don't know. What's the guy from The Simpsons? Old Gil. Old Gil is really good. That's
Did a heck of a negotiation on that
What a
one.
reference that is.
Thank you. Yeah. For Lionel Hutz.
Didn't Kramer do a lawsuit on Seinfeld and ended up just getting a billboard?
Yeah.
Good negotiations.
Buddy, I'd kill for a billboard.
Get it in the next deal.
All right. That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know we
Wow.
didn't fix some stuff.
All right.
Have fun tonight, Kippy.
Yep. Heading to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Our thanks to Kevin Cheveldayoff, General Manager of the Winnipeg Jets. Do we have and Dr. Jason Smith. Doctor. Have a great night, everybody. We're back tomorrow. More Real Kyper and Bourne.